Tonight on Special Assignment, we travel to the midlands of KwaZulu-Natal to meet alleged warlord Russel Ngubo. A top-ranking official in correctional services, Ngubo has for years been trying to shake off his bad name. But accusations of murder and intimidation continue to dog his path. We explore the man and the myth.
Russel Ngubo is a top civil servant. He's a deputy director at Correctional Services. He's also an ANC councillor, and yet he has more than once been charged with murder. Many say he's a warlord, he's accused of intimidation and vice, but each time he walks free. He says he's innocent, the victim of a terrible conspiracy. Russel Ngubo's story starts about an hour's drive away from his workplace, at Mpendle, his home in the KwaZulu-Natal Midlands. Over the last decade, there's been much blood spilt here. The political violence between ANC, IFP and UDM split the community, leading to hostility and tension. Many people died. Russel Ngubo has survived the battles. He's now one of the strong men of the Midlands. He has a name for being a man who gets things done. He's run prisons for the government. He's respected by the ANC. And he has a reputation for standing his ground in times of conflict. Politics made him powerful, and it's also got him into trouble.
Before the 1994 elections, that's where everything started. I mean, it became clear after that incident that took place on the 13th of March 1994, when I was ambushed by the so-called alleged IFP members. And everything now became clear to everyone who is a resident at Mpendle.
Ngubo took us to a field at Gamani. He says he was attacked here by gun-toting IFP members just before the 1994 elections. The attack was a turning point in his life. Until then, he'd been operating underground for the ANC.
It was clear that the main target was Russel Ngubo. They knew that I was an ANC member because before that incident, a week before that incident, I had a meeting in Stoffelton to try and recruit people to join the ANC.
Ngubo speaks often about this attack. It was at that moment that he lost his fear.
Yeah, I think that incident on its own made me change my mind, and I became so strong and very much brave. I mean, that fear I had before of not exposing myself, it was just taken away altogether, and I started to inspire another comrades to join hands together with us and push this struggle, I mean, in terms of building the ANC within our community, more especially at Mpendle.
At that time, Mpendle was IFP turf. But Ngubo successfully turned his home into an ANC stronghold. He started by recruiting his family, his aging father and mother, his brothers and sisters and their families. He went on to sign up over 10,000 people for the ANC. But it was dangerous work. Since then, he's been a target, and he always gets away. So these are your scars. Tell me where the bullet went.
I was shot here. The bullet went here and came out this side. Yeah, it's one bullet, but they used a very big rifle. It was an R5.
How often have you been attacked in the last 10 years?
6 times, yeah.
6 serious attacks in your life.
Yeah.
But Ngubo is living a dangerous life in another sense. The police have linked him to numerous murders. He's been charged arrested but always acquitted. The cases against him have collapsed for lack of evidence. Key witnesses have disappeared. But confidential intelligence documents also finger him as a mastermind behind hit squad activities, many of them in Mpendle over the last decade. The worst of the allegations is that he used correctional services warders, weapons, and transport for assassinations.
About the harassment by the police, I mean, it's not something new, something that started long ago. And the way I'm looking at it is that the very same policemen maybe are being used by other political parties to achieve their goals. I don't know.
For their part, the IFP and the UDM say Ngubo is the problem. The IFP believes he enjoys political protection.
You know that we always blame him for the killing that took place from a landscape, from the murder that happened at Henley Dam, up to the last murder that happened at Ernest Nzimande's house. In other words, the IFP believes that Ngubo is behind the killings, although technically he hasn't been found guilty of all these atrocities that we're talking about.
People are afraid. You'll hear the rumors around. People are afraid to say what is happening. But in the corners, you'll hear that they got the feeling that Bega Ngubo is the one that's been involved in the killings of the people at Mpendle.
Ngubo believes the IFP and the UDM are resentful because he turned Mpendle to the ANC. He's now an undisputed leader here. Although he's only 36, the community bring their problems to him. But Ngubo didn't become a leader on his own. At first, he worked with one of the Midlands' most notorious warlords, SFISO Nkabinda. This was before Nkabinda was expelled by the ANC, before he joined the UDM. Nkabinda's followers remember Ngubo's skills on the front line.
Ngubo was the man who was a local person there. So eventually we moved in, using his recruitment skills. I don't know what skills he was using, but we did move in and we launched a lot of branches there through him.
People were like afraid of him. When he comes up and says something, they will just run to what he has already said to them, and they will do what he has told them to do. So it was easier for him to just call up the meetings, and then we would come up and launch the branches and come back with the membership to the ANC.
So that was that kind of a man who could go into an area whenever he wanted to go in, and we went in.
By then, Ngubo had already suffered a double tragedy. His family had been attacked.
I've lost my son. That is the first one that I lost. My son, Lindelani, when I was attacked by the IFP. On the following morning, my brother was killed. That is Aaron. Those are the people that I've lost. But at the same time, my wife, Pumlile, her left arm is not working. She is crippled. And I've got my son also by the name of Andile. He is crippled. He was shot right at the stomach, and those bullets came out of his spine. So he's using crutches whenever he's walking.
We were going to school and we saw a silver PM. Then the man came out and then he took the gun and then he shot us. Then my father laid down the seats. And then there's a police came. He was walking with his bike and then he shot the PM tire and then they carry on going, and then some of the people that work with my father came and helped us.
The KwaZulu-Natal Midlands have long been the site of bloody political battles. Assassinations are commonplace. Thousands have died as political parties and warlords jostle for power.
We're talking about the people who have that mind, who think like that in this province, who don't just think of wooing people or canvassing people in their fold to make sure that they are proper, honest members of the party, but who believe that intimidation will play a big part. And if you kill somebody, you can be able to, if you kill the shepherd, you get the flocks.
Even today, there are ghostly reminders of the war in Mpendle. Atrocities were committed on all sides. Families have fled. Brother has lost sister, mother has lost son. Here are the remains of abandoned lives. Here is a heritage of fear. And one of the people in Mpendle most feared is Russel Ngubo.
Do you get a feeling that people are frightened of you?
Yes, you are more than right that most of the people are frightened of me. And that is my problem also, Marin. Why? But I don't know, because I'm very much friendly. But at the same time, I'm a straightforward somebody.
Ngubo and his supporters believe the media are to blame for his bad image. Ngubo reserves particular contempt for Paul Kirk, now a journalist for the Mail and Guardian.
Some of the journalists are not honest. They are not doing their job as they're expected to do in terms of publicizing what is good for the public. Others, they've got their own agenda in order to achieve some political objective of certain political parties.
Paul Kirk denies being part of a political conspiracy. He says Ngubo is newsworthy in his own right.
Russel Ngubo is a high government official. He's a public servant, which I think certainly puts him in a different league to the average man in the street. The crimes that he's being accused of and being investigated for are not petty crimes. They amount to wholesale genocide. In one instance, he is alleged to have led a hit squad which went to attack an IFP celebration near his homestead. They went to the wrong kraal. They murdered everybody there. Then went back, realized they'd hit the wrong kraal, and went back the next day to do the job properly. They're certainly not your average petty crime. We're not talking about someone with parking tickets.
Russel Ngubo lives and works at Pietermaritzburg prison. From a warder, he's risen to management. 2 years ago, he was head of this prison. Since then, he's been promoted to deputy director. We went there to talk to Ngubo's colleagues about the man the media dubbed the prison boss from hell.
You speak about the leader. You speak about the person who wants things to be done according to his own plan, as his area manager has ascertained. And then we are speaking about a person who wants to control in any aspects of the situation what is. So that's why we utilize him even in Newcastle. When there was a problem in Newcastle, we utilize him also in Pietermaritzburg prison.
So what you're saying is that you can use him in trouble spots?
He can restore order where there is a problem. He is a person of that kind. One may perceive him as a person who is sometimes aggressive, but his approach at certain things does make things right.
But Ngubo has a reputation as a troublemaker. He was a founder member of POPCRU in KwaZulu-Natal, and it's alleged he used violence and intimidation to achieve the union's goals. Ngubo denies these allegations, but over the years the Department of Correctional Services has served no fewer than 10 interdicts on him for violent behavior. The most recent was last year, when he allegedly threatened his boss, Thandiwe Khosidinsi. She claims she was threatened by Ngubo and a gang of POPCRU members. They wanted her to resign. She eventually quit.
I was pushed off my chair and made to kneel on the floor. They called me a liar and a bitch. I was even spat upon. The gathering was so unruly, I feared for my life.
POPCRU remains a strong and at times militant force in KwaZulu-Natal. Ngubo is associated with that militancy, but POPCRU denies he used violence to get his way.
In law, if those people can prove it, who are well qualified in interpreting law and investigating, it suggests to me that Ngubo is not involved in all these things. Basically, what makes him a target is because he is a leader, in short.
I would sort of call him an action man, a person who likes to have things done.
Are you frightened of him at all?
Not really, but maybe, as I said, I've worked with him for quite some time now. I wouldn't say I'm scared of him.
Correctional Services is standing by their man. Ngubo's bad name has not stopped him climbing up the ranks relatively swiftly. But the elite Scorpions unit is still sifting through evidence that may link Ngubo to many murders. They refused to talk to us, but on a tip-off, we went back to Impendle. We discovered a crucial bit of evidence lying abandoned in the grass near Ngubo's home. This rusting combi is a tangible link between a political murder and the Pietermaritzburg Correctional Services, where Ngubo is the number 2 in command. It was the vehicle used 2 years ago in the assassination of this man, Ernest Nzimande, the Induna of Impendle, and one of Ngubo's greatest enemies. He was also an ally of warlord SFISO Nkabinda.
In the Impendle area, there were 2 leaders there who were being recognized by the people. It was Ngubo and the late Nduna Nzimande. Now, as time went on, there appeared to be a split between Ngubo and Nduna Nzimande, because I think people respected Nduna Nzimande as a traditional leader and as a very good person. And I think people were sort of terrified of Ngubo.
There were death clashes between them because, for example, there was one time where Nzimande's shops were always broken in, and you'd come back and tell us that the people who broke into his shop were the boys who are Began Ngubo's bodyguards. SFISO will talk to Began to try and settle that, but once SFISO goes out of Stapleton, things go back again to as they were.
SFISO started to side with Nduna Nzimande, and that did not go down well with Ngubo. And towards, I think it was in the local government elections of 1996, SFISO wanted Nduna Nzimande to become the leader of that area. I think a councillor in that area. And Ngubo wanted that position.
Tensions reached boiling point over the control of an RDP water scheme. The scheme would provide tap water to some of the people in Impendle. Ngubo believed he should be the leader of the project, and not Nduna Nzimande. Ngubo allegedly threatened the workers and was making things difficult for all concerned. This man headed the Indlovu Regional Council at the time. He tried to sort out the dispute at a special meeting.
The meeting wasn't a smooth meeting, actually. It was a nasty meeting. You know that.
In what way? Can you explain?
Well, it was nasty in that the other people were feeling that since Councillor Nzimande had left the ANC, they were the legitimate councillors to control the project. We, however, realized that there was a sort of a misconception, because the project had not been awarded on political basis, but merely to the community.
There were a few boreholes that, Kwazulu government had sort of...
Ngubo denies playing a destructive role here, but James RIVETT-CARNAC is the engineer who designed the water system. He remembers how the scheme came to a dramatic halt in the spring of 1998.
As I say, there was a lot of tension on the site. And then on the 13th of September, I got a telephone call. It was a Sunday, I remember it very well. I'd taken my kids to soccer, and I got a call from the site agent out there to say that he had witnessed the assassination of Ernest Nzimande on that same day. I immediately told him that he should secure the site and leave the area, because I felt his life was also in danger. On the Tuesday, I got a report that on the Monday evening, persons unknown had attacked the site office, had burnt down the caravan, and had actually murdered the night watchman who happened to be sleeping inside the caravan at the time.
Eyewitnesses told the police what happened at the murder scene. The police wouldn't talk to us. It was too sensitive, they said. But when news got around of the Special Assignment investigation, a tape was sent to us. It's a recording of a senior KwaZulu-Natal investigator talking to someone else about the murder.
They had 3 people lying next to the road, you see, and waited for him to come out of the road from his house. So they laid ambush for him. Then he was only wounded, him and his bodyguard. They got out of their vehicle now.
Yeah.
And this combi was coming forwards driving it. Someone was driving it. And he tried to stop the combis to ask for help. And then the man that was driving the combi pulled out his gun and shot him. And split his whole head open.
When you heard that Ernest Nzimande had been shot, did that come as a shock and a surprise to you?
It didn't come as a shock or surprise to me, because he had indicated that he was continuously receiving abusive and threatening calls from unknown people.
The 3 million rand RDP water scheme was then cancelled. It was virtually complete. These reservoirs have been standing empty and abandoned for more than 2 years. They're located just above the Ngubo homestead. It was a waste of time and money. Only now are attempts being made to revive the scheme.
Development is a game fraught with these type of problems. But you accept it, it's part of the job. But to actually find threats being levelled against the chairman of the committee, and then those threats being followed up by actual assassinations, and the police unable to resolve things, the work has been intimidated, the PSC is too intimidated to meet anymore, so the project has to be abandoned. No, we've never come across anything like that before.
Nobody has yet been charged with the murder of Nzimande, but what makes it all so curious is the evidence left behind. As they sped away, the assassins took the corner too fast and crashed. They then poured petrol over the car, set it alight, and fled. But the police established some startling facts. The combi had been hired by Correctional Services through the Durban-Westville prison, but it had been used by staff at Pietermaritzburg prison. On further investigation, they found that one of Russel Ngubo's best and oldest friends, in fact his next-door neighbour, claimed he'd driven the car the very morning of the assassination. Charles Ndumo states in an affidavit that he was hijacked at 5 o'clock in the morning at this corner in Pietermaritzburg. He only reported the hijacking 14 hours later at this police station. By that time, the police had already traced the car. They contacted the hire company, which has been trying to get compensation ever since. There are suggestions that Correctional Services' own investigations were a cover-up. The police are also skeptical about the hijacking.
You see that the story about the hijacking, I don't believe it was hijacked, right?
Right.
Because I know they lie.
Yeah.
I mean, all of us, we know that they are lying.
There's a lot of allegations that click up began Ngubo with the assassination of Nzimande, because the question outside is, what was the Correctional Service car doing at Impendle? Because it was hired at the Westville prison, and what did it want here in Pietermaritzburg? And at the end of the day, it was found at Impendle. That is the question, and the people are asking.
Did you play any role in the murder or assassination of Ernest Nzimande?
No. No.
Why do you think that you've been fingered in this way?
No, I think maybe I've been fingered just because Nzimande was my neighbor. At the same time, Nzimande was expelled maybe from the ANC. I mean, one can conclude then and say if Nzimande was killed, then Ngubo was involved. official. Ngubo was not involved there. Ngubo was at work, and I don't see any reason why really I'm being fingered on that one. Yes, there are some other allegations that a Kumbi that was hired by the department was used to assassinate Nzimande. So I can be fingered also because I'm also employed by the Department of Correctional Services. I mean, for those few points I've mentioned, one can conclude and say definitely Ngubo was involved, of which that's not the case. That's not the case.
Ngubo denies all wrongdoing, but the mystery of the white combi remains. The Scorpions are investigating it, along with other accusations against Ngubo. National Intelligence is also asking about the combi. They're probing a link between Ngubo and hit squads. Meanwhile, Ngubo the suspect continues his career at Pietermaritzburg prison. With his eye on the future, he's taking a management course through the University of Wales.
Join us again next week for another special assignment. And if you have any comments or suggestions, you can email them to truth@sabc.co.za.